When it comes to diets, there are definitely better ways to eat and other ways to eat that are not so good. What we're going to talk about today are 5 diets that everybody should try at least once. Now, forget fat loss, muscle gain, and all that. There are some pretty incredible and sometimes weird benefits from trying some of these diets. Let's go.
I used to do this.
Yes. You know what's funny? When I met you and you said I would do the same thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I saw similar values.
You used to copy me?
I didn't know even before.
You were copying me before you even knew me?
Yeah.
You know what led to this, and not to give away what you're probably going to talk about or anything, but what led to it was I obviously trained so many people that have done every diet, right? I don't think there's ever been a client I've trained that didn't try a diet. You know, that's how I heard of so many random diets, is because there's a lot of random stuff other people have tried. And of course, there's like the core 5 or 6 that you hear all the time that are really common. And and when you get somebody who has done a diet like that, and they really see a shift in their health or really get in great shape, it just radically changes their life, and then they become married to the diet. But many times, what would happen is I would know them, like what they were eating before and then what they went to, and would try and explain to the client, like, oh, it's probably because you got, and by that time they're already drank the Kool-Aid, so there's no way I can convince them. So I thought, how the hell am I going to get ahead of this? Because clients who come do this diet, they have the change, then I get them, and then they're like, they're so what I started doing was like, you know what, I'm going to take clients through these diets and then tell them ahead of time.
Forecast.
Yes, exactly. Forecast to them what to anticipate, and to let them know that if you do start to feel these things, it's probably because we eliminated this thing.
You're deficient in something.
That's right. So here's the problem with quote unquote diets, or the word diet, or just the way it's used, is all diets, all popular diets, or 99.9% of the reason why anybody tries a new diet is for one purpose only, and that is to lose weight or change the way they look. It's not for any other reason. Now, I want to say something that's true, but I want to be very clear with it. The side effect of a healthy diet is a leaner, more fit body, okay? It's not the primary effect. A lot of people think that's the primary effect. That's not the case. A healthy diet will result in a body that looks healthy. And if you understand this and you move in that direction, your odds of long-term success are much higher. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of different ways to lose weight. I can show you 50 different diets that'll all cause you to lose weight because they're all a calorie deficit. Which one's going to work best for you? The one that makes you feel healthiest. And it depends on the individual and what they're looking for.
And the one that you can consistently do too. I'd add that there, because there's some diets. I mean, I'll be honest, there's certain diets that I feel really good doing, but it's just like, God, that's so unrealistic for me to live that way forever. So finding that balance of what makes me feel the best, the healthiest, and simultaneously, can I realistically see myself living this way for the rest of my life? That to me is what makes it really good.
Is a diet always technically a calorie deficit, or is it? What else would you call it?
Wouldn't that be the definition?
Well, diet.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Diet just represents the food you eat.
Because if you have like a modality you're following,
what does Webster say? Give me the definition.
Yeah, so going on a diet typically means you're trying to lose weight, but diet just represents what you eat. Okay, so you can have a diet that makes you gain weight too.
Yeah,
but diet is just what you eat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with the first one, and I'm going to talk about its value, and I'm going to talk about what it's not good for. So I'm going to start with fasting. Fasting is a profoundly beneficial way to practice detachment from food, or detachment from poor relationships with food, or to give you an opportunity to examine your relationships with food. If you live in a modern society, number one, you've probably never really felt hungry. You've had cravings, but you've probably never really felt hungry. So you don't know what that feels like. You confuse cravings with hunger, which is a terrible confusion. You don't want to confuse the two. Number two, we eat so regularly, and we eat primarily for enjoyment, for palatability, that our relationship with food is based off that. It's based off of, it's time to eat, and it's based off of, what do you feel like eating? I don't know. I feel like eating this, or I feel like eating that. Which one's the most palatable? Fasting from food allows you to separate from this attachment, examine the relationship, and then move forward with a different perspective. This is why fasting, one of the reasons why fasting is practiced in almost every religion, is because it allows you to break free from this thing that you're attached to.
You have that bird's eye view.
That's right.
You wouldn't be able to see otherwise. And I really do find the value in that, is like just stepping outside of those social in tetherments. Like
Yes.
you literally structure your day around these moments where it's like, I got to get food and I'm going to have this interaction with, my family, my friends or whatever. And there's all these like associations involved with it. So if you remove that, it's like, it's interesting to look at it.
I'm going to point something out. You know what's funny about that? One of the first things I noticed with fasting, and by the way, there are people who shouldn't practice fasting. We'll get to that too.
I was just going to ask you if you're going to talk about that.
We'll get there. But one of the first things that I identified with fasting was, how many times have you heard someone say this? If I don't eat, I get hangry.
Yeah.
Right? I get irritated or irritable if I skip a meal. I thought that was me. For years and years and years, I ate 5 to 6 meals a day because I was always trying to build muscle. I was always trying to gain weight. And if I missed my meal, I would get irritable. And I thought it was, it must be my blood sugar, must be hunger. No. It was because I expected to eat and I wasn't eating when I expected to eat. Because when I fasted on purpose,
psychologically conditioned for that.
I had none of that. When I knew I was going to fast, when I went 24 hours or 48 hours without food, I didn't anticipate that I was supposed to eat. And I didn't have any of those hangry symptoms. And I realized, I get irritable, not because I'm not eating, but because I'm supposed to eat. And I'm not eating when I'm supposed to. That's what's causing that. That's irritability.
Totally. So true. I've told you before that Katrina recognizes this behavior that I have, like before we go to like busy places or a thing that's not going to go my way. And she's like, so long as I forecast it for you and tell you it's going to be long, you're not going to like it, or there's going to be lines, there'll probably be tells me all the things, I'm totally easy to be there. But if all that stuff happens,
your expectations are different.
It's this, and the same thing goes with the eating. I just had a day the other day where I was all upset, but it was only because I thought we were eating at noon, and I thought when the food was getting prepped, I was going to be able to eat some of the food. Like, no. I found out right the moment before that I had already been waiting like 4 hours to get a hold of that food, and she's like, no, this is for the party. You can't have this. And I'm like, I was so angry, so angry. And it wasn't because I was so hungry. It was just that I anticipated that when that was done, I was going to get to eat it. Not that I had to stare at it for the next 4 hours before everybody got there. And so I got really pissed. And it's like, how funny is that it's less to do with this physiological thing that's going on with your body and nutrients or blood sugar. It has more to do with your expectations and you not expecting that. Yeah. And so that is more often than not the quote unquote hangry symptoms that people talk about.
The people that I see that benefit the most from fasting are the forever bulking, I need to eat every few hours individuals.
Competitors.
Oh man. Because I started fasting 24 hours and muscle didn't just fall off my body like I thought it would. And it was revelating. I was like, oh my God, I've been force feeding myself every 3 hours and I don't have to.
Right.
This is wild. And it really did change my perspective with eating.
I moved away from teaching fasting to the everyday kind of client because rarely did I find it that beneficial for them unless I had somebody who had a severe like attachment where they felt like I just can't control this. I'm always craving this or so hungry all the time. It's like, okay, let's see what happens when we go on a day or 2 day fast when you know that's coming and they would be fine. The people I found the most benefit with teaching fasting were my competitors.
Oh, yeah.
The bikini competitor, the bodybuilder guy who ate 6 meals a day on 2 hours, never missed everything. They weighed, tracked everything, and they have been consistent and religious about it for years. That person interrupting their like consistency around there and showing them that it's totally okay.
Not the end of the world.
You could go a day or two and not eat, and you're going to be just fine. You're not going to lose the muscle. You're not going to get weaker. You're going to be okay. And that was probably the client I found fasting the most beneficial for.
Yeah. Now, who should not fast? Well, if you've struggled with an eating disorder in the past, do not fast.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Oh, that's a terrible idea. So if you've struggled with bulimia, anorexia, or you overly restrict all the time, I don't think fasting.
Which, by the way, the people that tend to gravitate to it is that because it comes natural.
That's right.
They already were. They were the type of person. So this is why this is so bad. This was a client who has yo-yo dieted their whole life. Their way of losing weight was they went from eating poorly to now they just had 2 salads a day.
That's right.
They just skip meals.
Yeah, they just would restrict hard, eat celery, snack on it all day long, and that was like their way of losing weight. And they'd lose their 20 pounds, then they fall off the wagon, come back, and then that person hears, oh, intermittent fasting, I hear that's a thing. Gravitates towards that, and they like it because they fall back in their old behaviors.
That's right.
Dangerous person to teach that to, and not ideal for the client. Yet, those clients are the most attracted to that diet.
That's right. Next up is the ketogenic diet. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Aesthetic. If you want to win that program, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. Also, there's 24 hours left for our sale in April. Maps hit in the Extreme Fitness Bundle, 50% off. Take advantage now before it's gone. Go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code April50 for the discount. Back to the show. So ketogenic diet is high fat, very, very low to zero carbohydrates, less than 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, and about moderate protein is what this diet is. Now, what is this good for? Many people will notice sharpness of mind. They'll get a cognitive boost, stability with their energy throughout the day, and a dramatic reduction in inflammation. This isn't true for everybody, but most people on this kind of a diet after day 3 or 4 start to notice just joint pain is gone. Their body's gotten rid of a lot of water because that's what happens when you cut out your carbohydrates. And they have this kind of mental sharpness. And this is a great thing to recognize in yourself if this works for you, because what you can do with this diet, which is what I do with this diet, is I use this like a tool. This is like a weapon that I have in my arsenal. If I know I'm going to fly to LA and do 3 podcasts in a row, I'm going into that ketogenic because I want sharpness of mind. And so I use this whenever I need that kind of performance. And it's great to experience it. So that's why I think everybody should try this once to see if that
it's worth it just to see and feel how your brain responds on ketones. And I just feel like the majority of the population has never got to this level where they got in a ketogenic state. Like they're just constantly, fed. And so to kind of go through that process again and still be able to eat. And I think the ketogenic diet is an interesting one for that.
I've had a lot of success with clients too that are snackers and or eat a lot of like processed carbohydrates because and they have a lot of cravings. This was even me, like this made a big difference for me. I don't know if you remember, but back when the podcast first started, so like
this was like the first year.
Yeah, this was like one of the first year in the podcast. We were at the very first studio, and I was peak bodybuilding. I'm at 600 grams of carbs a day. And my kind of argument to like, I would never do the ketogenic diet. That would be ridiculous. I get to eat 600 grams of carbs. I still have abs. I get to incorporate these sugars and sweets and all this stuff that I love. But I also, when I'm eating that way, I have a pull towards those things. And I thought, you know what? That's the exact reason why I should do this diet. I'm going to do it just to see what happens. Well, the biggest thing that I noticed from that was it just eliminated that the cravings that I had for sweets and because I was allowing a lot of those processed sugars into the diet because you can't have that on that diet. All of a sudden I'm like, oh wow, I don't even have a desire for it. So clients that I find—
It's the ultimate low sugar diet.
Yes. Clients that tend to snack or claim they have a lot of cravings and they battle that, you put that client on a high fat, moderate protein diet and watch how quickly that tamps that down. So that's a very beneficial tool. But again, this is a tool to give you insight on this. Not like, oh, this is the diet you're supposed to follow for the rest of your life. It's, hey, this is because you've cut out all those processed sugars. Now you're not battling that. Now you know that. Now you can start to learn how to set yourself up for more success.
Yeah, now the cases where people will stick to ketogenic diet typically are people who feel a lot of brain fog and haven't identified what's going on. And the brain running on ketones tends to feel, especially with these individuals, much sharper. And so then they'll find like, okay, this is how I need to eat most of the time. By the way, performance-wise, going super low carb isn't the greatest for performance, but it does work well for low to moderate intensity type endurance. I remember going ketogenic and then kayaking across Lake Tahoe, and we were not like sprinting, we were just going. And I had just this long-lasting energy the entire time.
It's unique energy for sure.
It's
a different feeling.
You'll find people too with crippling autoimmune stuff do really well on this too. If like you have a crippling autoimmune, I mean like our friend Peterson's daughter, Michaela. Someone like that, this is like life-changing for too.
Well, next would be an even better example for autoimmune type issues, which is the carnivore diet, which essentially is the elimination diet. This is not a long-term diet, except for very, very rare instances. But eating just red meat is essentially the ultimate elimination diet. You've eliminated everything that could potentially be something that you're reactive to. Red meat has a very low reactivity for people. It's nutrient dense.
You assimilate it the best.
So you won't die just eating red meat. You won't have a nutrient deficiency. And in many cases, people with autoimmune issues or inflammatory issues who can't figure out what the hell's going on, gut health issues, they go carnivore and they see them resolve. Now, that doesn't mean you need to stay on carnivore. Like I said, in very rare cases would you need to stay carnivore, but rather because you've done this elimination diet, what you do is you get out of the carnivore diet by slowly reintroducing foods and then identifying, oh, it's that food and this food that are bothering me.
Well, and two, like it prioritizes, the meat is the most important thing to really include in the diet. And I think that people a lot of times that are low protein and then they go carnivore, it's this huge, like life-changing thing. Yeah. And it's like, maintain that, in terms of prioritizing that, but, bring back your diet. But it is a great elimination diet instead of just going down to completely nothing. It's
at least the best. It's the best elimination diet to figure that out. It couldn't get any simpler for people. Now, the downfall is, we tend to gravitate to things that are simple like that, right? So there's a lot. It's become so popular, right? I mean, it's way more popular than it should be right now.
Oh, it's gosh. It should not be popular.
Yeah, it should be one of those things that
extreme case.
Yes, extreme cases, or a good thing for a person to go through for a short period of time to try and figure out what the culprit is. But long term, this is why I brought up because you might feel amazing on it, but you also have to be very realistic with yourself. Like, okay, am I really going to be able to eat like this the rest of my life, or
steak 3 times a day?
Yeah, forever.
It's rough.
Not very realistic, unless it was something that you had to, like Michaela, where it's life changing for her and she has no other option.
Severe autoimmune.
Yeah,
issues.
and then that makes sense. But talking about the general population. Yeah, not ideal, but still a great way to find out, okay, what is bothering me, and also potentially what are the benefits of eating a lot of protein? What does that do for me? And I think that's the key takeaway from this is like, oh, wow, I must have been eating something that was offending me, or oh, wow, when I bump my protein, I get all these benefits.
Right. Next up is the reverse diet, otherwise known as a bulk. Now, a reverse diet is where you slowly try to increase your calories. This is not a dramatic, dirty bulk. This is not you just stuffing your face with a bunch of garbage. It's a whole food-based diet, and what you do is you find out where your calories are, averaging, and then you slowly increase your calories over time, in particular or specifically with strength training. And the goal is to build strength and boost your metabolic rate. And the people that respond best to this are people who chronically diet. Like you take the typical, like the avatar would be like the young lady who diets all the time, afraid to eat more than 1,500 calories. I reverse diet her and I change her life completely. Not only does she build muscle, boost her metabolism, she actually gets leaner as a result. Who doesn't respond well to reverse diet? The perma-bulk people. Like this, if you got teenage me and you told me to reverse diet, I'd be like, I do that already.
The person who's already in a permanent reverse diet.
Keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, totally.
The other person that's really great is like somebody who, we've all trained someone like this who's lost a significant amount of weight, right?
Yeah.
They've lost 50, 100 pounds by dieting over a long period of time. They got at their goal weight and they're deathly afraid to add calories back in the diet. They've been at 1,500 calories. They're at their goal weight and they at all costs do not want to go back the other direction because they don't want to go back all the way to the old weight they had. But they're at a place now metabolically where they have slowed their metabolism down so much that the reverse diet can be absolutely life-changing for this person. And it's just a hand-holding process to get them through that of slowly introducing calories back, but can be absolutely life-changing for that client.
Totally. Last up is plant-based. So plant-based would be mostly plants. Stick to whole natural foods. There's a tendency with people who go plant-based to go processed foods. There's a ton of processed foods that are plant-based. Potato chips, for example, are plant-based. But try to go whole, natural food, plant-based. And what you're going to see here is a dramatic, typically increase in fiber and changes to digestion. This also can help with microbiome diversity in many cases. And again, this isn't a permanent diet for most people, but it is a good way to get some insight to see how you feel when I dramatically increase my intake of plants. Yeah. Like what's going on here?
I mean, this reminds me of when we had Dr. Terry Walls.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah,
on
the Walls
show.
protocol.
And yeah, she did her protocol, which was like 6 large servings of vegetables a day. And I'm like,
that's how she cured her MS.
Yeah. And I remember going like, man, I don't know if I've ever even attempted to really introduce that much. And I remember how good I felt from that. And really, again, it wasn't like, oh, I need to be vegan because of this. It was like, okay, I need to include more fiber, more vegetables into the diet on a regular basis. And that is the big takeaway. So I would take clients through all these diets you're talking about. This is the way I'm communicating of like, this is what we're looking for from it. pay attention to these things as you go through it, give me the feedback, and then that'll be the takeaway from it. Maybe we do it and you don't really notice anything. Oh, cool. Then you're probably fine on those things. But maybe you notice something that is like, wow, this really felt better. Wow, I feel so much better. Or this is easier. It's like, okay, there's the insight. I think this is the biggest problem with all these diets is I think they all hold value. They all can teach somebody something about their body. And instead of us looking at it so religiously, where it's all or nothing, it's that diet or nothing else, it's like learn to go into these, take what you learn about how it makes you feel, and then apply and start to formulate your own type of a diet, you know,
so
versus
you can call audibles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing is having flexibility going forward. It's like, you know, you can stick with a plan that's been working, but your body changes and you need different nutrients and you need to change it up. And so to be able to know how your body's responding in all these different methods, I think it's really helpful.
Look, here's the bottom line with all this. Like if you first off, you're going to be eating food for the rest of your life. Okay. And hopefully you'll be pursuing or valuing or prioritizing your health, right? Hopefully your health will be something that you prioritize for the rest of your life. And it's something that you want to integrate into your life. Okay, so if that's you, then really what you're looking at is a process of self-exploration. You're looking at learning about yourself, learning about how food makes you feel both physically and psychologically. And then from there, you are well equipped. You are a black belt in how to feed yourself regardless of how your life changes. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you try all of these. Let's say you try all of these over the course of a year and you don't do them to see which one makes you lose the most weight or whatever. You just pay attention to things. You pay attention how you feel cognitively, physically. How does it affect my performance? How does it affect my digestion? How does it affect my mood, my satiety? You learn these things about yourself. Well, you know what happens now? Now you move through life and then you're like, oh my God, I got that meeting that I need to conduct in a week. And you know what? When I eat this way, I have the most sharpness of mind. So I'm going to lead into that with this. Or my digestion's a little off. You know, when I experimented with eating this way, I noticed it really did make an impact on my digestion. Or I'm starting to have these interesting flare-ups of skin issues, maybe a little eczema. That's autoimmune. And I noticed when I ate this way, my skin or my body seemed to react in a positive way. Now you have a Swiss Army knife of tools that you can use to manipulate your diet through the rest of your life and also learn, for parents, how to feed your children because you have insight on how these diets can affect the people around you. And it makes it so that you can live the rest of your life in a healthy way, in a realistic way. Because here's another news flash. You may find the perfect diet for you, but your life changes, which may make that diet no longer a great diet for you. 100%. So the context of your life really greatly influences what kind of diet is going to work best for you.
And it's such a good point. I think about like how I shared when I was bodybuilding, you know, one of the things that was advantageous. Remember, part of why I got off the ketogenic diet was because I couldn't eat enough to keep the muscle mass.
Yeah, it kills your appetite.
Yeah, it killed my appetite so much. And so for most people, obviously having these cravings for food and all the carbohydrates is not a good idea. For the guy who's trying to keep himself 30 pounds heavier than what he probably should be, was very advantageous at the time. And so it makes sense that there's going to be periods of your life where a type of diet is going to be more advantageous than other times, and learning how to weave in and out of these and knowing what is beneficial of each of them for you, that allows you to try to modify this on a either day-to-day basis or even like formulate a little bit of incorporating the benefits of all of them into one. I mean, That's where it's at.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, we have a free guide. It's the benefits of eating whole foods. This gives you a shopping list, what foods are best for proteins, fats, carbohydrates. There's recipe samples. It's all based on real, whole, natural foods, and it's a free guide. It's totally free. You can get it if you go to wholefoodsguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description below. Since we're talking about food and cooking, I just read a study we knew this already, but the study now got specific, and it is alarming. So first off, before I get into the study, if you have any non-stick cookware, throw it away. Just throw it away. Here's what the study showed. Ready for this? A single scratch. Now, everybody has had in the past non-stick pans, or you've seen them. And if you have it for longer than a week, if you look at it, you can see there's little divots and scratches on it. It's never like perfect. It stays perfect for like a week and then that's it. One single scratch on a non-stick pan releases 9,000 toxic microplastic
God.
particles.
What?
One single scratch.
Is that more than like a pack of cigarettes?
I mean, I don't know if it's that bad.
Yeah, we're gonna associate.
I feel like it's.
I might as well smoke.
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking right now. How crazy? That's a lot.
A lot. A broken coating, which if you have one for like a couple months, probably has a broken coating, will release about 2 million.
What?
Yeah. So remember those studies we've been reading where they're finding microplastics and these chemicals in people's brains, higher concentrations in people with Alzheimer's, dementia.
It's not easy to get rid of it.
They're finding it in breast milk. They're finding it in all over the place.
Well, wasn't that what Max was saying? What the receipts and the nonstick pans?
Yes.
Are they the two greatest offenders?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then like facial products for women and stuff like that. Right?
You know what's crazy?
What?
This just came to me right now. Do you know who uses nonstick pans the most?
Like
restaurants.
Restaurants. Mm-hmm. I bet if you eat out a lot, you are exposed to a lot.
Is that true? Why? I mean, why?
Because they're easy to clean.
Because they clean them.
That's
they're
the thought.
real fast. Absolutely. I mean, the truth is, nonstick pans are easy to use. You wipe them down, they're done. And I eat out a lot.
I thought chefs always liked the kind of the grime and the grub all still on there. Like that's what was like. Iron skillets are so great and barbecues are so good because they got to keep some of all the.
I mean,
flavors.
I guess if you're going to really nice restaurants,
I was gonna say, if like you're going to like more of a higher class place.
Yeah,
that's not typical.
Yeah, because I've been in kitchens at restaurants.
That'd be interesting.
While some restaurants may utilize nonstick pans for specific dishes like eggs or delicate fish, they are not generally the primary. Okay.
Come on.
Hold on. Eggs and fish, though. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would think most cooks, right, Doug? Like, they like that. They want it. In fact, when I had my buddy who's like a chef, I was actually surprised by how grimy and stuff like that. I remember one time he's like, you don't clean that with soap. You just wipe that off.
They call it like the seasoning.
Seasoning.
Okay. Yeah, it's like
good. That makes me feel better because I ate out long.
And I was with you. I'm like, oh no, I was thinking like Denny's and like diners and like,
they for sure
maybe those like shithole places.
That's what I mean, dude. We're talking about
where it's not a real chef. You know, it's like some kid fresh out of high school who's back there cooking your breakfast.
In which case, if you're eating a lot of your meals at Denny's, you're probably not worried about
you're probably getting a lot of other
problems.
stuff that's not ideal for you.
That's the last thing on your mind.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'd say most restaurants I would think are a little more privy to that stuff. So that's good to know.
But get rid of them.
I'm like, I eat out a lot, bro. That's making me feel real bad right now.
If you have them, if you just throw them away, guys, like that's like terrible to cook with. Absolutely terrible to cook with. All right, I got another interesting story.
More fear.
Do you guys remember? Sorry, Justin. Sorry.
Appreciate it.
Do you remember when I talked about in the past about the benefits of blood donation, especially for men?
Yeah.
Dude, they tied another benefit to giving blood, especially for men. And here's what it says. Men who give blood, let me move through this because I saved a picture of it. People who give blood it's linked to reduced cancer risk, especially blood cancer. So it's a good idea to give blood regularly. So they find that it gets rid of mutated cells. It reduces the chances you're going to get blood cancers, and it's for men that donate on a relatively regular basis. So just another benefit to giving blood.
How quickly does your body replenish that? So
Very quickly.
Is it like really?
Oh yeah. So if you give blood within I think a week or two, you can do it again. If I'm not mistaken.
And is it blood sugar? What causes somebody to be like kind of lightheaded from that? Like one of the reasons why I don't like giving blood is it's like I feel right afterwards. I've been like this close to fainting multiple times.
I think it's just because you're weak. No, just kidding. Maybe. Do you get dizzy when you
watch them do it?
Hold on.
I definitely can't do that.
That's why.
Oh, I can't even watch.
Okay, that's why.
I look away. But even
I think that's why. I mean, you shouldn't. You might get a little lightheaded afterwards. You definitely shouldn't drink alcohol.
I mean, I'm getting lightheaded just thinking about it right
now. Really?
Yeah.
You like that?
It's got to be a little psychological.
Wow. So it's psychological. You know, I didn't give blood, but I did.
And I hate it because we have to do it all the time. So it drives me crazy. So.
Wow, it doesn't bother me at all.
That's my biggest resistance to transcends. Always like, hey, it's time for your blood work again. I fucking push it out as long as.
So do you just look away when?
I have to. Yeah,
wow. Have you ever passed out?
I even try and start conversation where I'm like, oh yeah, so I like the place. Totally, I'm like, I play all kinds of mind games with myself. Because we got to do it so often, and I've never been good at it, and so that's the.
You know what's funny about all that? Like Courtney actually almost passed out when she was watching me get an IV started.
Her?
She's a
Yeah,
nurse.
she's a nurse and she does like IVs. She's like a master.
That's so
doing
random.
IVs, but for some reason, because it was me, and she saw blood and they missed, the vein, and she was just like,
So by the way, so this is better for men than there's a better
24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, no, that's for plasma.
Oh,
red blood cells 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, that's not fast.
Yeah, it is.
Well, when you said fast, I thought you meant like an hour. That's what I meant.
Oh no,
It's like,
no.
4 to 8 weeks is fast.
Yeah, bro. You know how much blood they take?
I know. That's why I was asking. I was like, they take all that blood. I'm like, how long does it take me to get that back? Is that why I feel so shitty?
No, wait a minute.
And you're like,
no,
fast.
No.
And I'm
Hold on
like,
a second. Hold on.
4 to 8 weeks.
wanna run a marathon
You're not
right
donating
after.
blood. You're just getting blood tests.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's,
You're not lightheaded from that.
Bro, blood. Yes, I give. That's why I don't
only
like
like
it, because
3
I know how
vials,
much
yeah.
you have to give. You give way more than if you
oh,
just
you
do
give a lot more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Way more.
and that's why that trips me out.
So the blood that they take for blood tests is not affecting you.
huge bags.
It's not affecting you physiologically. It's psychological.
You think so?
I know it is. They're like 6 little vials like these. You're fine.
That's
bro.
a lot of my blood.
No, it's
It's a lot. That was all in my body, and it's taken out. And there's nothing else that could happen that would take that much blood at once. I've never had an injury that took that much blood.
Your wife has a period every week that just is triple.
Oh, why did you have to go there? That has nothing to do with this.
Hopefully not every week,
Yes, and
No,
we've already
every
established women are tougher in areas. That's an area that they're
So when
definitely
you
tougher.
give blood, they fill like a big old bag.
Yeah,
Have you
there's-
guys done that?
No.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I know how much just giving this is. Like that would be for sure. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, I don't mind. I do it. And so so when you give blood, how much blood do they take when you give blood?
Like a
Can you
pint.
find- I don't know how much
It is like a pint.
So they try to get me to go every month because I have type O. Apparently mine's the one that everybody can use, so it's real valuable. So they hammer the hell out of me to go, but I try and go once a
They
year.
still get it from even with all the STDs and everything that you have.
yeah,
good.
jeez.
One pint.
Do they have like a filtration
They take
system?
a whole
They have like a filter. Yeah, it's a whole pint. I told you that.
2 cups.
Just imagine right now on the table
Oh,
a
I
pint
know, I
of your.
just can't.
It's such a-
I was just thinking about it. They get so excited too when I come in because all my veins too. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be so good." I'm like, "No, it's not. This is not. This is not gonna be good at all." Never.
appreciate this.
You got the big veins.
And it does. It depends on like the definitely different nurses. Like if they make the process fast and smooth, and but if they fumble around, it's a rough day for me.
Yeah. You got to have some skill for some people, but we're easy because
You shouldn't have. It shouldn't take much skill from me.
Adam,
Have you ever
Just-
seen that video? It was actually, I was cracking up because like I've even figured this out. So like there was a bodybuilder and there was these doctors and they were like trying to put a needle through a balloon. And so the doctors kept popping it. The bodybuilder got it right in.
bodybuilder.
I saw the steroids. He's
Yes,
bro.
Yes, dude. Like
He's
like
doing
a
more
master.
than steroids.
That's what I'm saying. That like he's
That's
figured it
heroin,
out,
bro.
dude. I was impressed.
That's
I was like, wow, there's something to learn.
he's not
there.
just doing steroids if he can do that, bro.
Yeah, because I've never shot.
Steroids-
I've never shot my testosterone.
That's an intramuscular noodle. He's doing something
Yeah,
else.
just if he
bro.
does this. Right before it's like,
Good point. I didn't consider.
I'd be
that.
very, very suspect of
what is
that.
that? Was that an Instagram reel
It
or
was,
something?
yes, yeah, I was like, it was funny. I
What
was
can
like,
bodybuilders
wow.
do well?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. All right. So I got I got something else interesting to bring up about a cannabinoid called cannabichromine, CBC. So this is found in the hemp plant. So hemp is a close cousin. I guess you could call it a close cousin to marijuana, except it doesn't have a lot of THC, right? So it's got CBD. Everybody knows about CBD, CBG, all these other cannabinoids. One of them is called CBC. CBC is neuroprotective, and it promotes the growth of neurons in the brain. So it's actually a pro-brain health cannabinoid.
Is this
Is
what?
that in the brain blend?
Yes. So
I thought
Ned's
so.
Brain Blend
Yeah.
is higher in CBC. It also has lion's mane in there and other things.
Is
I
this-
love that blend. That's one of my favorites.
Is this the theory of why, like smoking marijuana seems to be protective in the sense that it's not as bad as like smoking cigarettes? Is that why you think?
Oh, no. Okay, so there's anti-cancer effects of cannabinoids also. So
right.
cannabinoids are very interestingly anti-cancer. There was a study, one of the first studies come out was out of Spain. I think it was a Dr. Guzman who did it on rats, I want to say, with brain cancers. And high doses of THC dramatically improve their survivability. So the research in cannabinoids and cancer has been going on for a long time. In fact, there was a government study in the 1970s They were trying to show that smoking joints cause lung cancer.
Right.
Because they were going to use it to tell everybody stop smoking.
And they didn't promote it or talk about it, right?
They stopped the study because they weren't getting cancer. It was actually slightly protective. So like, let's not tell everybody about this or whatever. So there's that. But no, when it comes to the brain, it's interesting because THC, lots of THC is not necessarily good for the brain. We know this can cause memory issues. But if you combine it with other cannabinoids, there's a protective effect from those other cannabinoids.
I think you used to tell me back when I was asking you this when we first met, like a 1-to-1 ratio?
CBD to THC seems to be protective.
Okay.
Yeah. But CBC is one of the best ones. And you're right, the brain blend from Ned is higher in that, plus all the other stuff. So THC is the one that isn't necessarily good for the brain long term. That's the one that could cause the short term.
But as long as you're balancing it with that, it's a net zero.
I don't know if it's a net zero, it's better.
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, it's you.
My consumption's been pretty low actually lately.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'm just busy.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're done. We're completely nothing.
You're still nothing.
Nothing.
Wow. That's so sad.
I did that.
No, it's not. It's good, man. It's good.
I came back though because like I remember I was talking to you about it. It has a little bit of a medicinal effect for me for sure.
Yeah,
especially to get better sleep, like and calm down at night. Like it's.
You're an edible guy though, right?
Yeah.
You don't smoke. You can.
But I was like, I don't like we always talk about. I don't like being dependent on anything, and so I was like kind of shaking it up. I went off for about 2 weeks.
What about the Ned sleep?
Antsy.
What about the sleep blend?
Yeah, I took that. Yeah, and that helped. I mean, it was just kind of like. I still missed the THC part of it. Maybe that's preference.
I know I have a partial attachment to the actual smoking of it.
Yeah.
Like there's something calming and relaxing about just that. Even if it's only a couple hits, it's something about sitting outside, lighting that and doing that. I know it's not the healthiest way to do that, but there's something I know that I know that eating it or doing like the Ned sleep would be a much better way for me to do it. Yet it doesn't seem to. I don't seem to enjoy it as much.
Yeah, we're off. Everything completely.
Did you and Jessica go at the same time? You both said here, or did one of you do?
I had different challenges with substances. I can have issues with substances in different ways. Cannabis for me wasn't that big of a deal to completely stop. For her, it was much more of a big deal. But she's been off completely.
Now, was she? Because would she typically, like before you've decided this and it's like a normal week, does she normally consume a higher amount than you would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Significantly more than you would? Because you weren't like a heavy smoker at all.
No, but she would use it
more regularly?
Yeah, relatively regularly. I mean, when her and I first started dating, we used it daily. Yeah. We were nightly.
Well, yeah, you guys were like in your little party phase.
Yeah, but that's
like all excited, like you're 20 again and stuff. Yeah, like that.
But it was not a great great relationship.
I remember you were all giddy and like, oh,
yeah, that's what happens when you're in love, you know.
Yeah,
but no
festivals.
No, we didn't go to any festivals. I've never been to a festival before.
Nobody has here, huh?
No, Doug.
I have.
Oh yeah, that's right. You've been to Burning Man. Have you been anywhere besides Burning Man or just Burning Man?
No, just Burning Man,
which is like the pinnacle of all.
Did you walk
around? Heavy metal festivals don't count. So.
No, I did not walk around.
Cowboy boots.
You didn't?
This is cowboy
boots. What'd you wear in Burning
Chaps.
Man?
I'm trying to recall. I didn't do a lot of dressing up, honestly. I mean, there's some people really get into it.
Yeah.
Go all in.
Just covered in dust the whole time?
Basically, yeah.
Did you sleep in
booty
a tent?
shorts?
Yeah. What's that?
Did you sleep in a tent?
I did, which was horrible if you stay up half the night and then you wake up and then the desert sun is beating down on your tent in your sleeping bag. Because it's cold when you go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
And you wake up, you're all sweaty.
Just frying.
Wow.
No thanks. That's why you it couldn't get me. It sounds, everybody tried to tell me. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, no thanks.
You just bartered to sleep in the Winnebago.
Hey, I learned about something. I saw a post that I thought was fascinating. And I'm like, I got to check this to see if it's true. So there was this priest that was being interviewed. And the woman interviewing was talking about like evidence for spiritual world, whatever. And he brought up something, and he said it's something called terminal lucidity. And he said they don't understand this, but about an hour or a few hours before death, when your IQ is at maybe 25 or 50, because you're already you have terrible cognitive issues.
You just get a flood of chemicals.
You're brain dead. Like you haven't been responsive. Sometimes this happens to people who haven't been responsive for months. Then they'll come out for an hour and they'll remember people's names. They'll say, hey, honey, make sure you get the will together. They'll have this sharpness of mind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me look this up. It's a real thing.
What a trip.
And they don't understand it. They don't understand how somebody like severe Alzheimer's, who's on their deathbed, an hour before suddenly becomes
Gets everything back all of a sudden
clear and
cognitively.
lucid. And this priest said, and I looked this up too, you know what happens oftentimes to these people, especially people with like really bad cognitive issues? They'll, right before they die, they'll wake up and start singing religious songs, or they'll start they'll start praying clearly.
I wonder if there's like connect, because there's stories of people like going out and like smiling and like all happy and stuff like that too. I wonder if there's like some sort of connection there.
I don't know. Now a smile you might be able to explain, you know, but like lucidity. Like imagine somebody for 6 months is in bed, doesn't recognize anybody. It's grandma. She's on her way out. She can't even talk. We're feeding her through a tube. And then an hour before, 2 hours before she comes out and she's talking to her kids, totally clear. They can't explain it. It's the craziest thing. Yeah, see? They call it the end of life rally or end of life experience. Unexpected return of mental clarity and cognitive abilities, such as memory and speech, and terminally ill individuals.
Now, I haven't experienced. Have you experienced that? Have you guys haven't had anybody like that?
I mean,
I've only seen 2 people pass away.
My dad's mom, my grandma, like she was like severe dementia at the point at the end stage, and then all of a sudden, like, kind of got a lot of it back to the point where she was like joking. Like, I went in there to, say my goodbyes, and she was like making jokes about like having my body and all my muscles, and I was just like, what? Where'd this come from? It was amazing. But
Why
it
does
was
that
just
happen?
brief. It was very brief.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's so weird. I remember, I trained a lot of surgeons at one point. They would tell me all these weird stories. Like they would say, and they would never say this, I don't think they would tell anybody. They told me we were close. They'd say, oftentimes we can predict when people are going to go. And there's 2 reasons. One, the person loses hope. They just stop fighting.
Yeah, the
They're
fight.
like, we know they're going to go.
Yeah.
Or 2, they start calling their family members in to say goodbye. And that happened to me with my, my family member who died of cancer.
Yeah.
She was in the hospital.
I've seen that happen too.
She wasn't supposed to die that day. I remember she went in there. She had lots of fluid built up in her abdomen from her cancer, but all of her organ function was fine. The doctor told us, like, we're just draining her. Everything looks good. And I remember I got a call from her son. She's like, hey, she's calling everybody over because she wants to say her goodbyes. I'm like, but she's fine.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And I went over there. She said goodbye to everybody.
I've seen
and then
that.
She passed away.
I've seen that personally. I've heard countless stories. I mean, wouldn't you say that just highlights like the power in like just will, because you have the will to live, it's like and you just have this okay, I know these are my last moments, I want to see so and so or whatever like that, and that's it. And then once I do that, I'm okay. And then it just letting go process.
It's like waiting for that last person to sometimes.
It is. That's what there's stories like that where it's like she waited until the wedding and she made it to the wedding, and then the next day passed, or waited until someone got in town and someone finally got in town and then said their goodbye, and then he passed or whatever. Like there've been stories like that. I've heard tons of stories like that.
Yeah, or maybe, I don't know. It's so hard to explain what's going on. Is there a spiritual component? They get a sense of peace and calm, and they're like, oh, I want to say bye to my my friends and family. I don't know, but it's really interesting. But yeah, looking that up was weird. You know what one of the biggest challenges with that terminal lucidity is? When people will come out and will start saying things like, hey, in my will it says this, I want to change that.
Oh God.
And they don't know if they should take them seriously, because they haven't been
clear-minded, right? Like
they haven't been clear-minded for months.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Does it automatically default to power of attorney at like that point? Like,
I don't know.
Where does power of attorney kick in? Is it only after?
I think it
death?
already had kicked in at that point.
I just say normally that kicks in sooner.
Yeah,
right?
because you're not able to like call the shots.
Right.
But then what happens for 2 hours before?
That, right?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want him in my will anymore.
And imagine if that person's in the room. I know what it says, but they told me the doctor was there, saw the whole thing.
There's a guy behind just like, I want to change the will.
Stupid weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah. You guys are disgusting, bro. What are you talking about?
Fucking
just ruined this whole moment.
So demented, dude.
Speaking of less esoteric things, but did you know? And okay. This is something that somebody told me, and I was just like, this can't be true every single time. But we tried it out even when I was in Palm Desert recently, and like we had like these bottles. So at the end of every bottle, like after you pour the whole bottle out, like say it's wine or like some bottle of alcohol or something.
So glass bottle.
You finish it completely, get the last drop, you're done. There's always 10 more drops.
Like exactly 10?
Yes.
Really?
It's weird.
So it has to be something.
Again, it could be, I'm sure this is an anomaly of like, maybe
Did you
it's
read
just
this?
like.
Did you read this somewhere?
No, this is some old wise
And you
thing from
tested it?
this guy that told us at this,
so I'm gonna test
at this
that.
bar. And I was like,
So gonna
no
test
way is that true. And then we did it, and for at least 5 bottles, it was true.
Well, what would be
Jeez,
fascinating?
how much were you
So-
guys drinking?
There you go. No, it was we're getting rid of stuff.
Gotta do
dude.
another one. Gotta do another one.
Test it again, honey.
I mean, we got to prove it.
Yeah.
So
Hold on, let me see if I can explain it before Doug looks it up. If this is true,
I have theory too.
It probably sweats, the
well, I
last remaining liquid.
Here's what I'll guess. This is my guess. My guess is it has to do with the surface tension of the fluid dynamics.
Yeah,
to when you pour it all out, there's a certain amount of surface tension and fluid dynamics.
So the
It
bonds are
stays.
still holding on.
Yeah, there's definitely some that's coated on the sides.
could be it.
You settle it back down.
so it
Yeah.
results in 10 drops.
That's a good explanation.
Doug, look
But
this
now,
up.
so what would be interesting then, because then where that theory would fall apart is if you did it with a beer bottle and then you did it with like a champagne glass or something like that, and they all did 10.
Yeah.
No,
Because
I
if it's surface area like that, then it would be a larger
different
bottle.
sizes.
No, I think it has to do with surface tension with something totally different. Can you finding this
What
online?
do you mean? It would still volume
What
would
do you
still
want me to
matter.
look up here?
Look up. There's always 10 drops left in a bottle. Theory.
Let's go, Googler.
He's like, this doesn't exist.
What were you typing in, Doug?
yeah.
These are
He's
leftovers.
like, stupid questions from Mind Pump.
Yeah.
Guys.
Doug's the worst Googler ever.
I think I should retire.
No,
You guys do
You
it.
could do it.
No. Did you find anything?
I want to get an app instead of Hey Siri. It's Hey Doug.
Yeah. Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug, look this
Hey
up.
Doug.
Did you make this up?
Are you guys good
I
about?
did,
Are you guys
man.
good about
Real,
using
dude.
Hey Google and Siri?
No,
I'm
I
like,
don't.
No.
bro, I'm such an old fuddy duddy. I'm like training myself to get better about that. It's actually okay. Here's the thing.
Well, hanging around the staff, it's funny to me because they look everything up on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think like that.
AI,
Bro, you
is
guys can
getting
get left
crazy.
behind if you guys don't figure it out.
I'm trying to get
And let me
there,
tell
dude.
you know what? I remember when it first came on, okay? And the reason why I was like, F this. It was like, it would mess up all the time. I find myself repeating myself like 6 times to get something. But it just like everything else, it's evolved and it is so much better.
I know.
There's times where I'm like, you start to say something and it like predicts what you're going to say before you're finished.
Here's
and
the thing.
Get you where I'm like, damn, this
You
is
said
good.
something interesting,
Yeah.
and I think I want to get left behind. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea. I'm serious.
So, bro, you've been left behind a long time
Well,
ago.
let me-
You're fine. You're already winning, dog. If that's your goal,
Yeah.
you've been stuck in like the early '90s for fucking for almost
Why are
30.
those New Balance? 'Cause,
Yeah.
Listen,
then we're all the way in.
listen. Who's the best?
You won
Who's
already.
the best Googler in the room?
the Google man.
All right, then.
You are a good.
That's
Googler.
Googler.
You are a good
'Cause
Googler.
It's already in your brain. Dude.
Did you find
What
it,
are you talking
Doug?
about?
I mean, this is so obscure, and kind of stupid. But anyway, I'm looking it up.
Okay.
It's interesting.
No, 10 drops. Everybody's talking about eye drop bottles, but they're not talking about wine bottles or
Yeah.
champagne bottles.
Come on, Sam.
Justin applied it to
Get the Google
alcohol.
out here.
I
Get it-
applied it
get-
to alcohol.
Yeah, you just some way to just tie.
Yeah,
it.
that's the lame
Just give him
version.
himself an excuse to
Yeah.
finish the bottles off.
Be cool.
Why are you drinking all that?
Where did you hear it? Where did you hear it?
It was literally this guy like at the pool.
All right.
So I'm Googling some dude that's at a pool.
There's a drunk guy at the pool. This is your resource.
He sounded pretty smart.
Come on, Justin. Is that for real?
And he's just
He
a
used
guy.
to work. No, he's like in the industry and like owned
What
restaurants
industry?
and
like
a restaurant industry.
Okay.
So he was always
He's-
saying every
he's-
last one
he's
is like
somewhat credible.
there's 10 drops. I'm like bullshit.
Some guy.
And
some
so
drunk
we just
stranger.
we tested it out and it happened. So
Therefore-
I was wondering if you guys had heard of it. Not that I'm like a devout believer in it or anything.
You don't gotta defend yourself now.
Just saying. Well, it sounds like I'm getting
Okay, here's the
attacked.
best thing I found for this.
All right, thanks. Some guys at the pool. No, they're not.
Credible, dude.
No, there are not always 10 drops left in any kind of bottle. The number of drops remaining in a
fuck
bottle can vary
you.
depending on several factors.
size of the bottle.
The
See.
viscosity of the liquid and the dropper design.
So look at the size would matter. I
Debunked.
bet if you did a lot of beer bottles as a bartender, and that's all you do is serve beer
Yeah,
bottles.
beer
that
bottles or
always,
wine.
and they're always pouring it out at the end of the
bottles,
night.
dude.
So I could see that happens. And over 10 years of doing that, you're like, bro, there's always 10 drops
You
in
should
Bud
have been.
Lights.
You should have been a jerk and fact checked him right into his face. Like, oh, I'll be right back. Weird. It doesn't say that right.
That's a good way to make friends.
Excuse me.
Don't do my voice. Stop it when you do. I hate it when you do my voice. That's so
just read a
annoying.
few studies.
According to study, it's
All right, that's enough. Hey, Adam, I want to tell you about this
Okay, tell
because
me.
I think your kid will love this. So you know what my kids got for Easter from their godparents? It's called a Yodo Mini. Maybe you can look this up, Doug. It's this little orange box. You can play music on it, podcasts on it. There's cards that you plug into it. It'll read stories. It'll talk about science. There's dinosaur cards. There's cards on cars and trains.
Really?
It's so cool, and it's like
it visual
perfect for
or
little
audio?
kids. Audio.
I love that.
It's all audio.
So
audio.
it's funny. Okay, so I'm totally going to look into this. But here's what's interesting about what you're suggesting right now. I've recently, and I haven't brought this up, found like a little hack with my son for all you parents out there. If you are on a mission to, let's say you're a parent who is just becoming aware of probably the addictive properties around the iPad and tech with your kid, and you're trying. So I have switched Max to Spotify has this like crazy. All his stories, audio.
Yes.
I'll just put it on my phone
That's
and
it.
we'll sit there outside by the pool and
That's
we'll play, name a story you've read in a book or watched on a movie. They have like it being read. And he gets just into it.
100%.
And him and I are just sitting there and we're outside and we're looking around and we're just listening to listening to the story.
Yes.
So much better.
When I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was they used to come in cassettes. So for people,
Doug remembers this, right, Doug?
What?
Listening to the stories that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
I used to have records. Listen to stories on records.
It was all verbal back then.
There's a phonograph.
No, I
first.
used to have these cassettes that I would put in a cassette player, and they came with books. And it would read the book to you, and then it would make a chime noise for you to turn a page. You guys remember those?
Yep.
Yeah. No, audio is the way to go.
Yeah.
For your kids. So this thing's all audio. There's podcasts on there. Do you guys know that Blue's Clues? There's a podcast.
Like kids? Oh.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
And so it's all audio. So my wife's outside with the kids. She's sending me pictures. She's like, I love this thing.
Bro, I just watched a series on Netflix called Bad Influencer.
Oh, don't tell me about this.
It's like a 6-part series. You guys need to watch it. And you need to watch it.
You told me a little bit. It's depressing.
Yeah, you guys are, I mean, obviously you guys
I've
are.
only seen the trailer.
You guys are a little, but I just think it's important to talk to the audience about this because I wasn't aware of what a problem this is. And we kind of know this because we've talked about YouTube before, about how popular YouTube is for kids, right?
Yeah.
Unboxing of toys and things like that. And because we have all these crazy stories where kids become millionaires from opening toys. So of course, what does that do? It sends a bunch
It's like Hollywood parents.
So yeah, or pageant parents, right?
Yeah.
So you have these parents that turn their kids into influencers, and there's not a lot of law or like legal stuff around what you can and can't do. And as long as the kid is okay with doing it, and the parents so you have these parents that are really taking advantage, and it's sad to see. I don't know, and I don't know if they're wrapping it or they think it's okay or justified. But boy, is it really messing these kids up.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I saw just briefly, it was like it got to the level where they found you get more eyes, attention, views, and all this stuff by sexualizing it more. These little kids, and it's like it's fucking disgusting.
It's way disgusting. And they did a poll, okay, on so they have these kids. They're like, and the average age is like some of these kids are starting at 7, 9 years old, 13 years old. Like 80%, they have like 1 million, 2 million followers. 80% of their followers are men between the ages of like 30
Disgusting.
and 50.
Yeah, right.
Like that's,
of course.
and like, and if you're a parent and you know that, and you're still letting the kid do that is like wild.
Hey,
and the
let's
kid
just
doesn't
throw
know
you out to the wolves.
The kid doesn't know any better. The kid, and the way it unfolds, the way it looks, this is why it's so sad. Okay,
They want to please their parents.
Well,
probably.
and they don't even know any better. Like the kid does something that
They're excited.
an
They're getting
adult,
popular. Yeah.
adult sexualizes it, but the kid just thinks it's being silly, cute or goofy or whatever like that.
Right.
And because they get the reinforcement of the likes and the comments and the more money and the more
Yeah,
views,
it's innocent for them.
they just keep going down that rabbit hole. And then if they have a parent who's encouraging it because they're seeing more money and more return, and it's like, this is like an epidemic. Like it's huge.
Listen,
it's all over the place happening.
That's level 1, disgusting. But level 2 that a lot of people need to think about. One of the worst possible things that could ever happen to your kid. Forget perverts looking at them. Forget all that. One of the worst possible things that happen to your kid is they become famous. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
A child gets famous. They're getting fake love. They're getting lots of enforcement that is not going to stick around. You are setting your child up for a very difficult adulthood. This is why you see the Hollywood kids.
Well, what's the stats on that?
Famous kids, it's terrible. Imagine being that popular
what
as
is
a
the
child.
stat? What is the stats? I've seen it before on Hollywood kids back in the day.
Terrible.
Like 80% of them
Find
end
me
up being
two of them that didn't become drug addicts.
Yeah, end up being in rehab, suicide. Like it's the level of depression and drug abuse in childhood celebrity. I can't remember what the stat is. It's a high percentage though.
I can think of one.
Pretty much all.
Kirk Cameron but he's like super religious now.
Well, yeah, because that saves him.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Like the last thing I would ever want is for my kid to become famous. Imagine being 10, 11, 12, 13. Imagine being 14 years old with the amount of attention that we get. Yeah. Imagine that. What would that happen?
Well, yeah, and at that age, that kid's getting conditioned. Again, there's an innocence to it. They have no idea.
They get also fake love and attention, and they think they're so good and so smart. And
I didn't realize
terrible.
I didn't realize how big it was until I watched this.
Yeah.
Like I just put it on and it didn't really, and it was like it reeled me in, and I started watching more and more. And Katrina and I was like, oh my! I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't even know that it was that popular. I didn't realize that, because it's one thing to be a parent and be a little naive to the addictive properties around. Like I get that. Like I get
don't make your kids famous.
But like leaning into it and like pushing them to act.
We might not realize it's the kids know. Like, and so I'm like at a gymnastic tournament and there's one kid that's like got 5 million viewers. You'd never know. He's just competing. He's doing his thing. Parents are just recording him like they do anything else. And then my kids are like, "Oh, that's so and so," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm look up and because I don't, it's like a Snap. What's the other one? It's TikTok or Snapchat. So obviously I'm oblivious, but it's crazy. And they're just like documenting this whole thing, and the kids got personality and all that. But it really is. They're like documenting everything. It's a full-time job.
Nope.
Hell no, dude. Hell no.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, had no idea. Had no idea that it was that bad. But I mean, again, here's the positive side. If you're pro free market and stuff like that, then you start to see stuff like this. You start to see like people that are aware of that, know that like, because your kids are gonna they're entertained. They want that stuff like that. You want your kids to be able to enjoy. They don't want to be like not doing anything. So I get that. This makes sense why something like this would pop up and is probably growing and getting more popular.
Because there's no visual, it's all audio.
I mean, that's what I hope and pray for, is that we're just in this weird time of just lack of awareness around it. I mean, I wasn't aware. I was aware it happened, not at that level. I didn't realize like how many were going on. And so hopefully as like documentaries like this come out, more and more people are talking about, the books that we've talked about come out, that more people become aware, and it becomes it was a small period of time when we were idiots and naive that we let our kids do all this stuff, and then we kind of
you got to keep your kids off YouTube in general. That's the worst one. In the comments, these pedophiles in the comments will signal to each other. In comments of videos, and they can't crack down on all of them. There's how many millions of videos are uploaded every day? They don't have enough people that can handle it.
It's horrifying.
No, it's terrible.
On a positive note, the one cool thing I've seen from AI so far, this is my favorite thing so far. This guy, I don't know if you've seen this before. Remember those bass? Like you mount like a bass, and it's like the singing bass, and it like talks at you. So this guy rigged in AI and he would tell him to communicate with him like in an Arnold's voice, and so he was like talking trash to him as he's working out this bass in Arnold's voice. It's hilarious, dude.
That's crazy.
I was like, dude, to see like AI interact, I think there's something there with something physical that like can be somewhat animated but weird, and you can communicate with them instead of just like, "Hey Siri," and it's some like invisible, oblivious thing. To have like an actual like something to interact with.
That's cool.
It's interesting.
That's really, that is the pet rock of our generation. Do you know that?
Oh, the fish.
The
singing fish?
Look up singing bass
Singing
fish
bass,
like total sales. It's
really.
Oh, bro.
I mean, I've seen them. So much times.
It broke all kinds of crazy records.
I guess so.
Yeah, I forget. I think just singing bass frame what it sales or whatever like that. I looked this up one time. The guy who did it was just is a cajillionaire off of it.
I was thinking of that. Like the logical follow up for me would be like Teddy Ruxpin. And you like turn him into AI.
Oh yeah. I can't believe you just said Teddy Ruxpin. That brings back
over $100 million.
Over $100 million of those. That's crazy, right?
On a stupid
singing king
That's
bass.
so great.
Yeah, yeah.
More than Tickle Me Elmo.
Sometimes you hit it out of the park.
That's I told you, it's like the pet rock of our generation. That's the best like analogy I can give. Like that's like how crazy it was. I don't remember what made me look that up one day. I looked at
Probably looking up ways to make $1 million.
fastest way to
Dumb
make $1 million.
ideas I can do right now.
And I got that. Damn it.
Somebody did that idea already. Yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about a use for one of our partners, LMNT.
So I have a use for it.
So I notice so this is for people who work in jobs where you sweat a lot, or if you compete in a sport where you sweat a lot. Like when I did jiu-jitsu, this was me. But I know people who work outside, for example, can sweat a lot. Man, when I'm in the sauna, if I have LMNT in there with me, I'm like 50%. I can stay in there 50% longer.
Big time.
Easy.
I'll get headaches if I don't.
Easy. Like I'm talking water. Both of them with a lot of water.
No, you
but one of
stay
them with LMNT.
hydrated.
Oh my God. It's
So
like a
much longer.
superpower.
Now that's obviously so it was the popular drink for the weekend, this weekend for us. So we had Easter weekend. Saturday was Tina's 75th birthday. We partied hard all night long and then rolled right into Sunday for another party at our house, but was obviously much milder for Easter. But the drink of choice was everybody was drinking the elements. So everybody, we have a whole refrigerator in my house full of them. And everybody, so I'm assuming that's the reason why that feels so good is the because you get dehydrated, right? That's one of the reasons why you get hangover and headache is part of that. Is
you need electrolytes.
Yeah, and so man, everybody was sipping on those the next day. So good use for it.
ButcherBox is a company that delivers grass-fed meat, heritage pork, free-range chicken, wild-caught fish to your door. If you like protein, you like animal protein, but you also like to be healthy and you like to save money, go to ButcherBox. In fact, if you go to butcherbox.com/mindpump, new users that sign up there will get free ground beef in their box for the lifetime of your subscription, and you're going to get $20 off your first box. Go to butcherbox.com/mindpump. Back to the show.
Our first caller is Jason from Oklahoma.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Really excited for this opportunity. Found you guys about a couple years ago from Dr. John Deloney. So awesome. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool, man. How can we help you?
Hey, so like I said, I've been following programs for a little over 2 years. Cycled anabolic performance twice. And I noticed whenever I'm on phase 3 of anabolic and phases 2 through 4 in performance, doing the 15 plus reps, I get gassed out pretty quick, especially doing the heavier compound movements, deadlift, squat, bench, so on and so forth. And so between sets, I'd have to rest 2 to 5 minutes just to get my heart rate down, breathing regulated before I feel ready to do that next set. Currently, I'm in the Strong program, just doing the foundational workouts. I'm not with schedule, can't do the in between working sessions, but wanting to do power lift next. Currently, I'm running about 3 to 5 miles 1 day a week just to maintain some running capacity for some trail run goals this year. So in short, how do I need to adjust my training so that I can maintain a lower heart rate and not get so gassed when lifting in the 15 to 20 rep range? I've tried just doing less weight, but still feel gassed, especially with squats and deadlifts.
Yeah, you're normal.
It does.
You're
suck.
supposed to.
You know what though? What's great about this question is that we people think that we're anti-cardio and we talk like
do phase 3.
Yeah.
Right. But here's an example. If a client came to me with exactly this and they're just like, hey, this is what's happening to me. This is where I would prescribe.
Work on stamina.
Yeah, that's where you get some more endurance. And one of the best ways to do that is by running and getting your heart rate up or Stairmaster or elliptical or whatever you want.
So I'm assuming with your 3 to 5 mile run, it's a kind of a consistent tempo the whole time?
Yeah, I'm about a 9-minute mile pace.
Okay.
We want some more.
Average beats per minute between 165, 175.
Yeah. Try a shorter, faster run for the kind of stamina that you're looking for. So rather than 3 to 5
More
miles,
intervals.
I'd go 1.5 to 2 miles, but try to run at a faster pace, 8-minute mile or something like that, right? Try pushing the intensity, but reducing the duration. And that'll give you the kind of stamina you need to do a set of 20 reps with a squat, for example.
I love taking somebody like this too and doing like a 12-minute hit to start. Let's say you normally run these 3 to 5 miles. We do like a hit style for the first 10 to 12 minutes, and then you do your cruising run afterwards. So you'll get that with stamina you're looking for your squatting and stuff. You'll get that from that hit, and then you'll maintain your run, and you're only adding an extra 10, 12 minutes to what you're already kind of currently doing, and that should really build your gas tank.
Stamina is interesting, right? There's different kinds of stamina, just like there's different kinds of kind of strength. And so what you're looking at for is kind of strength stamina.
Which is the work sessions, which is unfortunately what you're not doing right now in the program, which is actually perfect.
Yeah, MAPS Strong, the work sessions are going to help build that as well. But yeah, dude, shorten your run and make it a little harder. You can even practice sprints with shorter intervals in between for the kind of stamina you're looking for. So still not really training for power, but rather for that kind of stamina. But it just got to change it up. I mean, I had clients that would run 20 miles a week, and they would get gassed out on 20 rep sets of squats because it's different. It's a different kind of stamina.
By the way,
stimulus.
This is also the science that support, like, so there's a people on the internet that try and counter the message that we talk about when we talk about cardio, but we're typically talking to someone for just longevity and fat loss and building muscle. It isn't a lot of times the ideal thing, but here's the case, and here's where the studies point to it benefits strength training is when it hinders, when your stamina and endurance hinders your lifting to where you're not getting the max out of your 15 to 20 rep sets, this is where doing cardio, you'll now get more out of those. You're going to probably be able to load the bar more and do more. And then that will then progressively overload the body. You could build more muscle.
Now, not just if you want an easy option, another option is to go a lot lighter and continue doing those sets. Going a lot lighter, it's light enough to where you can complete the set. Is perfectly fine as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, man. Does that help you?
Yeah, I think so. I'll definitely try the short sprints, and I need to get the working sessions in for the strong, but I can only hit 3 days a week. I'm teaching in the evenings on Wednesdays and Mondays, so the schedule doesn't allow for this semester, but hopefully this summer I can get some more working sessions in, and trying to build that bigger gas tank.
What is like your main goal? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Because I'm wondering too if like maybe a different program based off your schedule is more ideal for what you're trying to accomplish. Like, what's the overall goal, fitness goal?
Good question. So when I first started, it was primary fat loss. I've dropped 60 some odd pounds in the last 2 years. Awesome. I've been transitioning into more of I just want to be, strong and athletic. I want that just, lift a lot of weight, but, move quick and move for a long time. I was a wrestler in high school. I missed some of that just long performance stuff.
Okay.
So,
I think like a MAPS 15 performance with more cardio based stuff involved in it.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too. So how long did you wrestle for in high school? And so it's pretty serious?
Just 4 years, freshman through senior.
And you lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
You might not be fueling your body properly. Are you kind of stuck in this like lower calorie, I'm afraid to gain body fat?
Maybe. I mean, my wife will say I eat a ton. We eat a lot. We grill out pretty much 6 days out of the week, chicken, pork chops. And so, I mean, I feel like I eat a lot. I don't track. I just
try
to
low carb.
Carbs. We have sweet potatoes a lot. My wife makes her sourdough bread. We do rice a lot with the chicken. Okay. So those are in there.
I think the move is to go a more performance based program that isn't as because commitment time commitment, right? And you can take the
a little less taxing.
You can take the 6 days and you can make it into a 3 day routine also. And you're going to get kind of the athletic performance from that type of training, and then take the cardio advice we're giving. I think that'll be
you'll have extra time for it.
Yeah, I think that'll be a more appropriate. So if you don't have MAPS 15 performance, I'll have Doug send that to you.
Oh, that'd be really great. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah,
I think that's.
you'll do well in that
I think that's
program.
better for what your schedule is permitting, and then with the little bit of extra time you have, now you can start to do some of these sprint ideas because the workouts are going to take you that long. So you can start to do these sprints and runs to build that endurance. Since that's what I'm hearing from you is like more the goal. That's probably a better direction to go.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Love it. All right, we're gonna send that over to you, Jay.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep.
You got it, man.
All right, man.
It's stamina is like strength, right? It's really interesting. So, I'll give you an example with strength. Like you can be really strong at some lifts, and then try new lifts, and then just be like blown away by how weak you feel with them.
Yeah.
Stamina is interesting. I remember experiencing this myself when I was at my highest level of jujitsu conditioning. I mean, I was, I could go straight for 30 minutes in a hot room grappling. I mean, I had crazy stamina. Then I had a buddy who was a boxer who had me hit mitts. And I was so
gassed in 2 minutes.
I was
different animal.
I was like, why am I so gassed? I got crazy endurance fitness. Yeah. It was just different. It was just different. I wasn't used to it. So, fitness, there's a lot of carryover, but it's also very specific.
Yeah, that was every time I switched sports. I went from football to basketball. Now all of a sudden I have all these like crazy demands for lateral speed and explosive jumping, and like I just didn't have it. And so it's very specific. And so if he can train, again, a lot of what he's wanting from this in terms of getting better
work sessions
is in the work sessions.
So I was just going to point that out because you pointed that out. Like this is another great example of, he wouldn't be having this problem if he was doing the complete program. All the programs we write are whole.
We thought about that.
Yeah, are whole and are complete. And that's not to say that there's this wrong, or it's just that you're going to miss out on some things. There's some things that we already thought about.
And the strength stamina component is in strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Big time.
And we gave recommendations of kind of a 15 minutes here or there to try and hack to getting closer, but nothing would be better than actually those work sessions. Yeah. It's more applicable. You are actually doing moving weight for high reps and keeping it moving. Like that is what would get what he wants the most, but we're on a time restraint. And so that changes how I recommend what you would do.
Our next caller is Matt from New Hampshire.
What's up, Matt?
What's going on, Matt?
How are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good.
Right. What you got for us?
Awesome. So I'll start by reading my question, and then I do have a little update at the end afterwards. But I've lost a little over 50 pounds with assistance from a GLP-1. Went from 251 pounds down to 195. I took your advice along the way and used MAPS GLP-1, which I think was very helpful in helping to preserve muscle through that process. Supplemented with whey protein, creatine, EAAs, and focused on my protein intake. Of the weight I lost, according to my impedance scale, which I know is not super accurate, but I lost only around 6 pounds of muscle, which I think is pretty good.
That's not just pretty good. That's really good.
That's really good, man.
Really good.
Awesome. So I'm planning, and actually I started using MAPS Performance again to kind of start my rebuild since my job as a firefighter paramedic requires athletic performance and mobility. My question is, while continuing the above recommendations, is it worthwhile to supplement with peptides for muscle growth, specifically CJC and Ipamorelin, or is it not worth the money? And the update is I did start supplementing with those, and that was about a month ago. I do think I've started noticing some results. However, I did freak out because I saw the scale start going up quite dramatically. I gained about 15 pounds of what I assumed to be water weight in like 2 weeks. So my new question to kind of update on it is, do you think it's still worthwhile to supplement with these things cyclically every now and then as part of just kind of like a healthy lifestyle and performance throughout a career?
Before Sal takes over and answers this for you, I just want to point out what a hell of a job you did. To lose that much weight and to only lose 6 pounds, that's 90% was fat and 10%. I mean, a person on GLP-1 like that, to do that is incredible.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, the data on a 50 pounds of scale weight lost would look on average like 60 on with a great person, 70% fat.
Yes.
30 to 40% muscle.
That's how amazing that is.
So it would be something like 15 to 20 pounds of muscle loss.
Yes. You could have said that and I've been like, still great. So
the other side of this, I'd like to ask you this. During that process of weight loss, did you get stronger with any of your lifts, or did you just maintain strength?
I probably came close to maintaining. I actually lost some strength throughout it. Not a ton though. It was pretty much the same throughout.
Okay, good. So excellent. Great job.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the growth hormone releasing peptides. One of the side effects of raising, and let me ask you a question actually before I get into that. Did you go gray market, or are you working with the doctor? Or are they monitoring your hormones?
I went gray market for that, but I do see a naturopath who does monitor my hormones.
Okay, so you saw all the hormones look okay then.
Yes, yeah, I've been probably from the work that I do, my thyroid and testosterone were in the toilet throughout or before I went through this whole process. So I've been on TRT and thyroid medications before all this too.
Okay, so you're already on those. All right.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. And then did you measure your IGF-1 to see the change since going on those?
No.
Okay. So that would be to know if you got real stuff, if it's actually working. Nonetheless, raising your growth hormone will result in some water retention.
For sure.
So that's a normal side effect or effect from growth hormone releasing peptide. Now, here's the question. Is it worth the potential increase in fat loss and muscle gain? Is it worth it? And so that's an interesting question, because your performance that you're looking for to become a firefighter or paramedic is going to be dependent on your strength to weight ratio. Okay? A lot of the tests are not just you lifting max weight. They're going to be you doing things with your body. And so if you get a little stronger, but your body weight goes up to the point where the performance drops, not worth it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's one of those things. I'd been on the job for a little while, about almost 8 years full time, and I'd gotten to the point that I was, the fat, overweight firefighter. I was tired of being that way, and so now, I want to try and go the opposite end of it and set the example.
Okay, so that's what you'll know. Like, okay, cool, I could deadlift 10 more pounds, but because I'm heavier, I can't move like I could before. So that's the question. Now, the benefit of those peptides is I think the big one is sleep. You get better sleep. The muscle gain that comes from growth hormone isn't that substantial. It's super overstated. Now, bodybuilders will talk about it, but they're also combining high doses of anabolic steroids with high doses of growth hormone, which is way more than your body's going to produce from growth hormone releasing peptide. You'll notice faster recovery. The fat loss effects can be pretty cool. So it's going to be kind of up to you to determine if your performance is, and what you're feeling from it. But, in my experience, the sleep effects, some people get really substantial benefits with their sleep. For me, I think that's totally worth it.
Matt, are you working with a coach, or are you doing this all by yourself?
I've just been doing this by myself.
I mean, that might be the direction I would push investing wise, if you're open to it, is like a good coach who's like dials nutritioning. Because I don't know everything right now, but I would really love to dive into like what your nutrition's been going like and how we can maximize just manipulating macros to build some muscle, then lean back out. And if you're already in the market of like investing more on yourself, that's not a bad worthwhile. You've already crushed it, by the way. What you've done is incredible, and you should be very happy with what your results are. But you obviously are like you're seeking like kind of the next level to what you've already done. This might be where investing in a professional could take you there. I might consider that, even though everything Sal said about the peptides are valuable. But I think you would. And you seem like the type of guy where if I told you do X, Y, Z, you will go do it. And I think there could be a lot of value in that too. So something to consider.
Yeah, but I would get your IGF-1 tested just to see, what the effects are. But yeah, growth hormone, testosterone, thyroid optimized. That's like a really good place to be when you combine it with diet and proper exercise. So during this period of time, this 15-pound weight gain, are you getting stronger, or are you just getting better pumps? Because you'll get better pumps at the gym for sure with that.
Yeah, I definitely have gotten stronger. So a couple of my lifts are higher than they were before I started this whole process, and I had been working out or lifting, I should say, before I started the true weight loss journey with the GLP-1. So I'm now higher than I was there, and it's only been about a month. So
that's good.
I'm definitely seeing some benefits from whether it's directly from it or just from the programming and consistency.
Have you bumped your calories since then?
Yes. Yeah. I haven't been tracking, but I've been paying attention to the protein, and I've been making sure I've been getting around 200 grams of protein a day.
Oh, good. And that went up since you started the growth hormone releasing peptides?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's a combination.
Yeah, he's probably got water and muscle. You probably put maybe a tiny bit of body fat if you did it all.
I don't think so.
What are you still following the MAPS GLP-1 program, or are you on to another program yet?
I'm on to MAPS Performance right now.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
bump your calories and stay the course. I think you're going to be okay.
You're doing great.
Yeah. You know what would be more accurate is body fat tests.
Yeah. That'd be
get
a good one.
Yeah.
Get some consistent body fat tests, like once every 30 days. Watch your strength. Look at your strength to weight ratio. So if your squat goes up 30 pounds, but you gain 5 pounds on the scale, your strength went up in proportion to your body weight, right? If you gain 15 pounds, but your squat goes up 7 pounds, your strength to weight ratio just went down. Does that make sense?
Dylan, what was the name of the place? Where do I get my body fat? What's the name of that company? Because they're all over the place.
Oh, that Body Spec?
Body Spec. Yeah, you can find some pretty cool like remote ones, but like that do all the DEXA scans, really accurate. I mean, I think I'm pointing in the direction of like you're ready for kind of the next level of tweaking.
Yeah.
So you've done such a good job getting where you're at on your own.
Build muscle.
That either one, this is where I would invest in a coach, or two, get more granular by getting a better, accurate
Get a lot
test
more
to really
metrics to work with,
Exactly. So whether you do that with a coach or do that yourself, that's kind of where I would push you in that direction. I think you're definitely ready for that.
Hey, just for my own curiosity, what was the time period over the 50-pound weight loss?
It was around 9 to 10 months.
Nice. That's a great pace, dude.
Yeah, you're such a great.
You did a great job.
Great example of how amazing GLP-1s can be, right? When used appropriately by the right person for the right reasons and done correctly, it's amazing.
Have you come off the GLP-1 or are you still on it?
I came off. However, I did when I had my freak out about the scale. I did get some retatrutide as well, and I started on low dose there because I was getting like insane cravings as well.
Especially with the growth hormone.
Kind of help with the food noise a little bit. I started at a really low dose of that, and then that's helped.
Oh, so you're like microdosing it now?
Yes.
That's the best I've seen. Again, we're not doctors here, but what I've seen that works really well with the clients that we've helped
Is that what he just did?
Yes. Yep. So
awesome.
Doing good, man. Doing great work, Matt.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
You got it,
man. Keep it going. Killed it, dude. Absolutely killed it.
Absolutely. The only thing that it always bothers me when people go gray market. Because I'm like, oh, what are you getting? We don't know what you're injecting into yourself.
Yeah.
There's some people I trust in that space. I can't really point them out because we got to be careful. But I don't trust many at all. You know.
Yeah, it's just a worthwhile and
definitely wouldn't recommend.
Well, I know what it is. I mean, it's expensive. There's so much.
Retatrutide. I hope I'm saying.
I know
right.
that's impossible
I think
to say.
that one isn't even available unless you go gray market. Now that's a triple agonist, right, or quadruple agonist one. That's the one that is like.
I heard about it. I don't know anybody that's offering it. Yeah,
I know
Gray market.
Transcend was they were
almost.
Yeah, I don't know if they're there yet, but I know they were working on that.
We have a buddy that offers it. I'll say who it is, but it's interesting.
Well, you can get it. Of course, you can get it. Obviously, but hell of a job. I love hearing stories like this though because. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy around GLP-1s. That is the type of client that thing was made for.
Yes.
It was made for helping.
He did everything to the T, man, and it just was proof and pudding.
And tell me that's not life-changing for someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
60 pounds, you know what I'm saying, to come on, like that's just incredible. Yeah. And to have only lost 6 pounds of muscle, incredible. So
that never happens.
Love hearing that.
Our next caller is Claudia from Illinois.
Hi, Claudia.
What's happening, Claudia?
Hey, guys. Hey. So I'm Claudia. I'm a mom of 2. I'm 35 years old. My oldest is 15, so he's the one that I actually have a question about. And my youngest is 5. And I think Justin will like this little fact because he's a Game of Thrones fan. She's named Lyanna Arya. So after Lyanna Mormont. So that was cool. That's really what I wanted to share with you.
Love it.
So a little bit about me. So I was an OTFer for 5 years. I met some really great people out of that. I'm not really thankful for that. But then I listened to you guys for several years, and then I finally said, you know what you guys are talking about. I'm going to switch over, drop the membership, and then started your anabolic program. So ever since then, it's been about a year or so. Great results. I love it. Now I'm getting my kid into it, which is really excited. My friends, my coworkers. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So I'll just go in a little bit about my son, Zane. So he is a high school freshman. He's a varsity wrestler in Illinois at one of the top wrestling schools here.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's it. I was never an athlete. So this is all new to me. I have no idea anything about wrestling or either that there were like 3 different styles in the US. So in the high school, like normal winter season, they compete in folk style wrestling, which is a little bit different from the Olympic contested style of wrestling. So this season, he competed at 2 weight classes, 126 and 132. I had no idea you could do that, but they have to certify at both weights. So one of the questions that he wanted me to ask this morning was, how do you cut and still maintain the weight when he has to drop to that lower bracket? So I guess I could go off of what his current weight is right now. So he's a little bit heavier. So now that the folk style season ended, he's at 151. He's 5'9". He has anywhere between 2,500 calories to 3,000 calories. And he did want me to tell Sal, like, hey, I'm eating 8 eggs for breakfast every single day. He's like, I want to make it to 10 eggs.
Little understudy there, huh?
Yeah. So he listens to you guys. So because he eats so much eggs, we actually are investing in getting chickens and building a chicken coop.
Watch out, you'll become a conspiracy theorist. It happens.
Yeah, so he picked the wrong time to like definitely increase his egg intake for sure. So that was one of the main questions that he had. I had more of a question of like, what should he do in the off season? So the off season isn't really an off season per se, because they switch from folk style wrestling to freestyle. Freestyle is more explosive, takedowns. It's really, really, really fast. Greco-Roman is the other one too, so they can compete both styles this summer and spring and summer. Greco-Roman is no leg attacks, all upper body strength, right? So I had no idea there was any type of style of wrestling. But he plans to compete at 144 for that. So he needs to cut by, I think May 2nd is the freestyle championships in Illinois. So how does he cut weight to go down to 144 for this, I guess, for this spring and summer season? And then that's what I want to know is, what should he be doing this summer? Because he doesn't really want to compete. Like, I guess I could say that he is more focused on folk style, which is what he needs to go to. That's where the focus is for college, right? So that his goal is to become a D1 wrestler. So that's where I'm going to you guys. Like, what should he do off season to get ready for folk style? Because he's crazy busy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Two styles, 2 weight classes, and a freshman on varsity. I mean,
it's actually 3 styles.
Yeah, you've got a monster.
So this is tough. This is tough to answer. So let me ask you, Mom. Okay, what do you want for your son? Because I know what he wants. I can guess what he wants, but what do you want? What are your worries and concerns? And they're okay. That's totally valid because you're mom. And what do you want for him?
Well, I want him to be safe. So the first half of the season, I guess I should say, wrestling season starts in December, right? So by end of November, he already had to start cutting weight to meet 132.
Yeah.
He went his way, and I said, this is how you should do. Start slowly going into a calorie deficit, knowing this is your target weight for the season. He didn't listen to me. He went dehydration, starvation mode, most wrestlers do. And I'm surprised he passed the dehydration test, because they have to get tested and certified for it. It really, I kind of let him do his stuff his own way at first. And then I kind of eventually tell him, hey, this is what I recommend. You don't want to listen to me in the beginning. This is what my mom says. So you guys have been really helpful in reinforcing this stuff. I got him on seed because it might be too much information. He might be embarrassed because he's going to listen to this episode, but like, I'm like, hey, how are your bowel movements? Because you're cutting, like, right? And he's like, well, they're not really regular. I'm like, all right, let's go on seed. Now it's part of his daily routine. First thing in the morning, he takes seed and the EAAs. Again, especially when he's cutting, I told him, like, all right, let's do your EAAs because you're weak. So I do try to like apply what I've learned from you guys. So like he uses the Juve red light therapy after tournaments, especially on the shoulders, because wrestlers are prone to shoulder injury.
Okay. Okay. So what I heard most importantly is you want him to be safe.
Yes.
And so wrestling is interesting. There's incredible value that comes from
It's
wrestling.
unique, yeah.
But it also has a culture that that can be not so safe. And it's a culture of weight loss. It's a culture of extreme dieting, dysfunctional eating. Wrestlers are notorious for this, especially the smaller,
Extreme exertion
lighter weight
on top of
classes.
that, yeah.
And he's a freshman. He's young. He's supposed to grow. He's going to grow as he gets older. So my advice is this. My advice is to let him wrestle at the higher weight classes and stop messing around with trying to cut 20 pounds as a 15-year-old boy for two reasons. Can he do it? Yeah, he can starve himself and cut, which is what's going to happen. He can do this right. We can do this perfectly, but he's going to have to go in a crazy deficit and train his ass off, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's, with the talent like your kid, I don't think we're going to compromise his potential for going to a D1 school in the future by having him wrestle at a higher weight. So I think staying lean is fine. I think getting strong is important. Focus on his skill and technique. He's still a freshman. He's going to get way better as a wrestler as he continues to get older. But I'd really, and the coach might not like me saying this, but I've gotten in arguments. I had clients with kids like this, and I got in big arguments with coaches because at the end of the day, and you know,
they want to win.
Here's the end of the day. What's more important to you is that your son become a healthy adult and that he's happy in the future. What's less important that he get a D1 scholarship but compromise his health and develop problems. Okay, so and now that doesn't necessarily have to be the trade-off. So I think let him go in the higher weight class. I think MAPS 15 is the only strength training he should do in the off season because he's still doing 4 days a week, 2-hour training sessions in the off season, right?
Yeah, and sometimes his buddies, they're like, hey, I'm going to have another practice on Saturday. So there's like another 2-hour practice in pretty much a sauna.
Yeah, for people watching this right now, that's the off season for wrestlers is 4 days a week, 2 hours a day in a heated room, right? So
it's nuts, man.
MAPS 15 is his strength training program. Okay, that's number one. Number two, most important thing, he needs to get 9 hours minimum of sleep a night. If he can't do 9 hours of sleep, then he needs to go to bed, wake up, go to school, and have a nap if he can. But 9 hours is what he needs, which means he needs to go to bed 9.5 hours before he needs to wake up. Now, I have a feeling your son will have no problem doing this because it sounds like he's super focused on his goal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to talk to Zane right now. Zane, if you do what I'm saying with the sleep, you're going to add 15, 20% to your performance.
Yeah.
Like nothing is going to improve your performance like what I'm saying with the sleep here. So that means 9.5 hours before you need to wake up, go to bed. And this means 7 days a week, even on the weekend. Because if you go to bed late and then wake up late on the weekend, you're going to change your circadian rhythm and you're going to give yourself jet lag and it's going to take away some of these benefits. So 9 hours of sleep every single night. MAPS 15, no additional strength training. Okay, don't do any of our other programs. They're inappropriate for your body. You're going to get stronger and build more muscle following MAPS 15. Okay, supplementation is great. You've got all that down, and stop chasing the lower weight classes.
Yeah.
I don't care what your coach tells you. If you just go in at 130 or 126, we got these kids you could beat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and train and compete at the higher weight classes and let your body grow. Let your body grow. That doesn't mean gain a bunch of body fat. I'm not worried about Zane getting body fat, by the way. I think he's so hyper-focused that what we need to be careful with is watching the opposite, where he gets too obsessed with food. So get in the higher weight classes and get the skill and continue to build and get stronger and go to bed on time. That's it. That's it right there.
And to sell that more, Zane, you with 10 more pounds of lean body mass will be more dominant. I know right now it's tempting because you're like, man, I know if I drop down that weight class, I'm dominating those kids that are in that weight class. But that's you where the muscle that you have is at right now versus if you stay in a healthy range and we build 10 pounds of muscle, then you'll be even more dominant in that class, and it'll be healthier for you.
Now, I'm not talking about bulking either. So again, this doesn't mean what I'm saying to Zane is, hey, let's see if we get you to 175 and push it. Okay. Just eat